Hello everyone. The Indian aviation industry is currently experiencing one of its biggest booms. Aircrafts worth billions of dollars on order, swanky new jets arriving each year, and crazy routes being launched. But there is a bit of a problem. How did we go from this to whatever this is? How did we go from world class products and service representing our hospitality to cramming our passengers like cattle? So, join me today, Avgik Parik, as we deep dive into how Indian Airlines went from comfort to convenience. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Welcome to Avgik Parik. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow for more. Jump back in time and travel back to the 1960s and the 70s, as I would likely call it the golden age of Indian aviation. Back then, there weren't many airlines operating, but there was one which not only ruled the hearts of Indians but people from around the world. Air India, our beloved Maharaja. Air India was a very different airline in that time. It was not the airline that we see right now, but back in the day, it was setting benchmarks for luxury and hospitality. Led by the visionary JRD Tata, it set the benchmark so much so that airlines like Singapore Airlines, yes, the very same Singapore Airlines that owns a stake in the airline, took inspiration from the airlines. And Air India aircrafts, they were a sight to behold, especially the Boeing 747s. The beautiful Rajasthani style decor on the windows, the customized upper deck lounges. It was a dream come true for the upper class Indians. What would be described as a lackluster 1980s, here come the 1990s. Air India entered the 1990s as a shell of its former self. It wasn't the same airline anymore as it was under the stewardship of JRD Tata. Through financial crisis and management changes, Air India, unfortunately, was not the same anymore. There weren't much airlines operating in India at this point. However, one incident would change that forever: the 1992 economic liberalization. With the liberalization came in a flurry of airlines, providing greater levels of comfort and service compared to the state-run and kind of dysfunctional Air India and Indian Airlines. There were a lot of airlines that came and went, but there were two that stuck around for longer and changed the way Indians traveled. And yes, these are none other than Jet Airways and Kingfisher Airlines. The best phrase that I would use to describe Jet Airways and Kingfisher at its peak was truly groundbreaking and out of this world. I had fond memories flying both of these airlines as a young Ave geek and having the best flights of my life. Jet Airways, especially, was on a different level when talking about not only the product but also the service that they provided. I still very vividly remember flying on one of their 777s and them having one of the best first and business class products around. It not only was groundbreaking for Indian standards, but it also competed well globally. But if Jet Airways took things up by a notch, Kingfisher Airlines took it to a whole nother level. Sure, the airline was clouded in infamy, but nobody could deny the fact that Kingfisher Airlines was one of the best premium airlines India has ever seen. You had leather seats in economy class, and very vivid memory of mine, amenity kits. That too in economy class, back in 2007. Isn't it crazy? They also had an onboard bar on one of the wide-body aircrafts. Now, if that's not luxury, I don't know what is. Kingfisher really brought the global standard of luxury, class, and comfort back to the Indian soil. Everything was going rather well for these full service carriers, but then came the year 2003 and an airline that would flip this entire script. This was an airline that provided no complimentary meals, no in flight services, no frills, just cheap fares and convenient timings. Yes, if you've guessed GR Gopinath's Air Deccan, you're absolutely right. Air Deccan was India's first low cost carrier and it took the country by storm. Their convenient timings and cheap fares were just too good to be true. And then came the entire low-cost carrier frenzy, with the likes of Go Air, Indigo, and SpiceJet would also enter the picture and take the Indian aviation market by storm. The Indian aviation industry is a rather tough nut to crack, coupled with rising fuel prices, competitive price wars, and government regulations. It quite literally is hell for airline owners, and especially the owners of full cost carriers who operate at a higher margin. Slowly but steadily, passengers started preferring the lower prices and more convenient timings of the low cost carriers as compared to the full cost carriers. Slowly but steadily, unfortunately, we started to lose a lot of them. Kingfisher gone, Jet Airways ceased operations. However, a few years later, there was a shimmer of hope in the name of Vistara. Launched by the very same Tata sons that revolutionized air travel with the help of Air India, Vistara, to a certain extent, brought that back successfully. However, reality hit and it got merged with Air India around 2024. Now, a lot of people think, is there a ray of hope for premium travel in India? My answer to them, absolutely. I believe Air India's new upcoming product and the existing product on the A350 are quite competitive. I've flown them personally, and frankly speaking, they do have a way up, but they are quite good for what they are. And the most surprising of all, Indigo, out of all airlines, is launching a premium product as well with the Indigo Stretch and also plans to launch a full-fledged business class on the A350-900. Whew, only time will tell how good the product is. Now this begs the question, what's next for Indian aviation? We've already gone from comfort to convenience, but very well, for the very first time, we might be heading into an era where comfort and convenience can coexist. Basically, a choice for everyone, but a sky for all. Now that's it from my side. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends and do let me know down in the comments which airline you missed the most. Till then, keep flying high as we decode the skies one story at a time. Peace.